Hi, so I'm trying to figure out what the next steps are. I know some other people are figuring that out as well. And I know a lot of people are talking about what is going on and that it's a repeat of history with different players. And some people say this can't be a repeat of history because the players aren't the same. Some people are burying their head in the sand and waiting for it to happen. Some people are horrified and wish they could do more, especially for the people that are in the camps. I was listening to what was going on in Florida and the response of, the person who's wearing diapers right now. And it was all about him. It was like really a weird statement. And there was a part of me, and I know this sounds really horrible to say, but I'm like, Florida's probably the best place to have one of these places because if a hurricane happens, they're going to have freedom. And a hurricane wipes it out, guess what? They're not going to be tortured anymore. I hate saying that, but I don't know what else I could do. And so, because I don't want them tortured anymore, I would like them to live and have wonderful lives. But at this point, a lot of us can't do anything. So let me continue with what I'm talking about. Because a lot of people are just keep repeating the same things. This is what's going on. This is what this person's doing. Okay, a lot of us know that. I think we need to focus more on what's going on behind the scenes. I'm one of those people that if this is going on, we need to go behind the curtain and deal with what's going on behind the curtain. Because a lot of this stuff is surface level. And that's the surface level, always seeing the surface level and dealing with the surface level gets depressing. But if you know where your, I want to say this correctly, where what's going on underneath and you know what to deal with underneath, you're gonna feel in some ways empowered. You're gonna know what to do. You're gonna know how to move. So one of the things I would really highly encourage people to do right now is to meditate and to find other people to meditate with and ask the question, what do I need to do in this season? How do I need to move? And sit quietly and do that. Or getting with a bunch of people and doing an EFT session and asking that question. Or finding some way to really tap in to tap into wisdom to ask what to do. Some of our great inventors, like Einstein, used to spend time really getting quiet, really thinking quietly on the solution instead of the problem. And we are talking so much about the problem right now. We're not talking about the solutions and what we can do. And I think that gets too much for me when we keep talking about what's wrong. Yeah, there's a lot that's wrong. Yeah, we need to be prepared. But it's not going to prepare me. It's not going to prepare other people to go, oh, he's building another, camp. But it is going to prepare people if you know what they're doing strategically and you're able to do things to stop it. So let me give an example. I don't know if you ever heard these stories, but when 9/11 happened, there were people who actually did not get on the plane, or did not go to work that day. Something told them inside not to do it. And they didn't. So what would happen if someone was going to be in a certain area and they just got a feeling not to be in that area? And that was the area ice cubes were in. And because they were so busy meditating and getting quiet, they didn't have to go to a camp. And that was that was what happened. Or what would happen if, because you were being quiet and you were asking those questions and you were meditating and you were figuring out ways to solve things, you knew your neighbor, you got an impression your neighbor shouldn't leave the house. And you went and knocked on your neighbor's door, and because of that, you saved your neighbor from going to one of those places. What if you got an impression or a feeling or something, and you were able to say something to one of your senators and representatives, which is something they just needed to hear, and they were able to go to Congress and change things? These things do happen because people are willing to get quiet and ask the questions. But the more we talk about what he and so-and-so is doing wrong and focus on what they're doing wrong, we're creating more wrong energy. Yeah, they're being tools. Can I do anything about them being tools? No. But I can do my part. I can get quiet. I can ask those questions. I can say, how do I maneuver in this situation? That's what I can do. Because you never know what's going to happen. When I start asking those questions of how to move, what do I need to do? It may lead me to a person that's doing something absolutely incredible that I become a part of. That's why we need to look below the surface. That's why we need to, yes, we do need to still say what's going on, but we need to talk about more after we talk about that aspect. What do we need to do? And how do we need to move? Because what they're doing, they're trying to get us on the surface level to complain. Because if we are always complaining, always talking about what they're doing and not going beneath, they've won. Because we're so distracted. But if we go beneath and say, how do I navigate this? I can't win. So on that note, I hope this is helpful, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.